Human Settlements Minister Mmamoloko Kubayi has promised to address challenges facing community members in flood-affected areas in Gauteng. Kubayi is currently visiting parts of Soweto, including Kliptown, Mansfield and Protea Glen, where people basically had to leave their homes at moment's notice last week because of flash flooding. That has caused extensive damage to infrastructure as well, including damage to roads. Scores of people have also been displaced because of the natural disaster.
We'll visit Kliptown, we'll visit Mansfield Hostel, and then we'll visit Protea Glen. But we know that Dobsonville has been affected, we know that Meadowlands has been affected, we know that Orlando has been affected just in Soweto. So you can note that just in Soweto we will not be able to go in all the areas. But we are actually just saying to the team as we leave here, the other team will remain now starting to collate information to bring it together and give us the number of entirety houses that have been partially damaged, the number of houses that have completely collapsed, and people who have been displaced.
Sketchy update on that visit by the government delegation to parts of the south of Johannesburg affected by the floods. Bring in our reporter Ahmed Kajee, who's live for us in Soweto. Ahmed, you've also been able to see firsthand what these rains have done to people's properties and the rest of the area. Give us an idea of what you've witnessed.
Until today, when you came to observe, which is not
yes, Tembekile, many of the residents have actually come out to speak to these government officials coming through, including the Human Settlements Minister Mmamoloko Kubayi, as well as the City of Johannesburg's MMC, Mlingisi Mabaso. As you will see in front of you, these community engagements are continuing, heading into the afternoon as well. There's been on-site visits from this morning in and around the Kliptown area, the Soweto area, and this is something that we haven't even seen 2, 3 and 4 weeks ago when the heavy rains battered this area as well. Many people have lost their homes, damage to infrastructure, and at the time the City of Johannesburg said they are going to start implementing some sort of measures to ensure that there will be security and safety for the residents of Soweto when heavy rains subsequently do return to this area. And we have seen this now take place 3 weeks later over this particular weekend, and many times what we have seen over the past weekend is a lot of infrastructure being damaged as well. Many people's homes being destroyed as well, and this is just one of the residents who actually was speaking to the minister just a few moments ago. You were talking about the fact that you had to just take your family away from your home. Can you just take us through that as well?
Yeah, I'm saying they didn't consider us that much. The disaster people, they came, but what they did is just to have people take out of the house. They consider the fact that we have to stay outside the whole day without food, without anything. That was another problem that we had. Our children are suffering. Who's going to give them trauma? Nobody came to assist us with that kind of trauma. We lost our food in the grocery cupboards. Everything is damaged. So who's helping us through that? No one came. So that's my worries, because they're only concerned about the dam. What about our lives as well?
And then what exactly took place at your home over the last weekend? We've seen the heavy rains. Can you take us through exactly through Friday, Saturday and Sunday?
Okay. First, I would say on Friday, we were sleeping, unfortunately. So I'm selling some sweets. So when people knocked, I thought they just wanted to very much about them, only to find they were trying to alert me that there's water coming. So when I wake up later, when I hear the noise, when I came out, the water was, immediately when I opened the door, the water was against me, the opposite direction. So it went inside the house. I just took everyone out. I couldn't manage to get anything out. Nothing. I just managed to get what they could wear just for that moment, and then I carried them out, all of them. Then from there, since Friday, we have to wait the whole day here. Without food, I had my first meal 10 o'clock that night. My first meal of the day. I only had at 10 o'clock making plans of takeaways to something to eat in the house. And then the following day we had to do some cleaning. It was just cleaning the whole day. Since we've been cleaning, even today, now it's raining. Our things are still wet. We can't take them out. So they're in the house. The house is smelly, the water is smelly, everything is disaster. So how about our health also? Who's caring for us in terms of food and health also? That's what...
Government is here. What exactly do you then want them to do for you?
Please, they must just clear the place. Is not good anymore, because it happens 4 times. So it happens 2010, that was the latest. It happens not long ago, 2 years back. So I don't think, what I want them to help us is, 1 is food, 2 is health-wise and trauma counseling for most of our kids, because at least we are adults, we can handle that. And then the last thing that they must do is just to move us from this place.
Thank you very much for your time today, Thembekile. You will see City of Johannesburg officials are also here on scene, just going through with the residents with exactly what is some of the damage as well. And we can now carry to bring in the conversation, Councillor Mngisi Mabaso. MMC, thanks for your time today. What's the biggest takeaway that we then have seen since this morning?
Well, we have seen the extent of the damage. But we have requested our team to be on the ground so that they continue with the assessment of the damage. We started at Nansfield Hostel, we went to Kliptown, and we are here at Protea Clan now. And this was a private development. These are bonded houses, so there are quite a number of issues that the residents have raised. One of the issues they have requested to be relocated, but the second to that is that this development was approved in a flat line, and we are still going to look at that. We are still going to find the developer and those that had approved this development, because it's in the flat line. So that's what we still want to establish as well. But the minister has indicated to us that they've amended the policies, which makes it easier for us now to even assist those that are in a private houses. So we are going to intervene. We are going to assist. But we will also going to do the assessment so that we understand the extent of the damage for us to start with our interventions.
MMC, we saw this happening 1 month ago at the Nansfield Hospital. You said some sort of interventions would be put into place. A month later, we're seeing an exact same situation that we have seen then. What's your message then to the residents of Soweto and the city of Johannesburg, understanding that there may not have been necessarily adequate implementation of interventions?
Well, there is no adequate interventions because of the extent of the damages that had happened in Johannesburg, but we have tried to spread our wings to all the regions that have been affected, and there are interventions, in fact, that we have put in place. Like in the case in point, in Nansfield, we were able to relocate all those affected households, and in other areas, like in Kliptown, we have also been able to do that. There are areas that we have not yet visited as political principals, but our officials are there on the ground, and they've done that assessment, so of which I believe that whatever interventions that we have put in will be of great assistance. But we still call on our residents to inform us and alert us so that we are able to dispatch our team so that we are able to assist them.
Correct. MMC, thanks very much for your time. And Thembekile, you will see the Minister just engaging with residents about exactly the specific challenges that they are facing and exactly what they will be bringing into the time. And Minister, thanks very much for your time today. It's Ahmed here from Newzroom Afrika. Many of the residents will be very concerned about the heavy rains in this particular area and wondering what exactly your government department will be doing.
Look, we are here to activate, obviously, the interventions, disaster interventions in Gauteng specifically, not only in Soweto. As you know, the rains are everywhere. Part of what we are doing is to look at all the areas. We would have started in the morning. As you know, we got the report from the teams that have been working here to check if work has been done. We've gone to Nansfield Hostel, where we went to see the partitioned hall, where people are being put. You remember that I've made an outcry around the halls when we had the halls in the Eastern Cape and in KwaZulu-Natal, the nature, the way, not giving families some level of dignity, which at least this one has been partitioned so the families have level of privacy. From there we went to Kliptown. We understand Kliptown, every time there's floods, there is an area. So we're looking at the areas where MMC was taking us, that they are possibly to relocate people to see whether that area would work. Obviously, because under the grant, our informal settlement upgrading grant, we are providing that. There's some technical work that is being done, though there are concerns that we have in that area that is likely not to pass our technical assessment in the manner that it is and how it looks right now with the water, because it's not absorbing the water, it's stagnant as you move around. Here, it's a private development, where a private developer developed houses. They sold to owners. These are bonded houses. Majority of the people who have utilized either their pensions to buy these houses and all that. And you can clearly see here that they have built within the flood line, because it has to be 100 years flood line. Where we are standing right now, it definitely tells you, because it's not even 30 years that people have been staying here. And it's 10. I mean, and people already are swimming in water. So part of what we are trying to look at, obviously, the city will have to find those people within the city that approved these plans. You can clearly see that there are no stormwater drainages anywhere in the street. It doesn't meet the minimum requirements of a town that should have been developed. So we'd have to go and find the developer so that we can start a process of also, because we're going to have to relocate these people. And clearly it can't be government's liability to relocate these people because they've paid to somebody who made a profit out of this area.
One would assume then that this is a procedure which should involve multiple government departments, perhaps infrastructure, law enforcement, police, as well as home affairs?
No, definitely we'll have to. I mean, our intervention, remember, when a disaster has happened, then a disaster is declared, and then there are interventions. But for us as human settlement, because when disaster happens, people are obviously immediately on the streets. So we go and intervene immediately. Now, part of our concern here is that we thought that there's no need for a disaster to be declared. We agreed with the MEC that clearly there is a need for disaster to be declared so that it can activate all the necessary department. We do need the Department of Environment to come in, as I was talking. Social development needs to come in. Actually, we thought that they would have been here to support these families, at least with food parcels, because their food has gone off because of the rain. You need GRA roads with the bridges, because there's a local road, which the bridge is here. GRA will be able to intervene, but when you look at N12, it needs national department, which I will talk to Minister Mbalula about. I'll talk to Minister Chris. As we went the other side in Orlando, the reports are very clear that we need DMRE, because there's issues of mining and mining rights, because there's sand that was mined and that is blocking in terms of storm waters. So we do need them also to come in. In the informal settlements, the report I'm getting is that majority of the people there are illegal immigrants, which will have to come in with Home Affairs to do the work, and law enforcement agencies, so that we can be able to, we don't want to decant people, move people from these informal settlements, but only to find the mushroom again. Because the people, those who do not qualify to be assisted by government, would have been remaining. So definitely an intervention that is multi-approach will work. I'm here from national government. I'll feed back to my colleagues. As you know, we do work together. Having been on the ground, we'll give feedback to them to say this is what is happening, and then we'll work. We are intervening a human settlements war room type in the morning tomorrow, 8 o'clock, with the MEC for the entire province. Because we've got Western that is affected, I would not be able to go there. We are getting high alerts in Tshwane and in Ekurhuleni. Part of what we want to do is also to check in terms of our systems that we are ready. Going forward, we want to have a proactive mechanism so that from human settlements we are not found wanting. It is very clear with these disasters that planning in our cities has to change, and how we build has to change.
Minister, thanks very much for your time.